Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Vision Pros Live. I'm your host and coach, Fletcher Ellingson. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad that you are in this conversation. Why? Because these conversations are loaded with nuggets of wisdom, nuggets of insight, nuggets of suggestions and curiosity that will help you grow, expand to that next level and create what it is you want to create. And the main way we do that is by conversing with other people who are doing it. Today on the show, we've got Chaz Wolfe. He's from Gathering the Kings. Chaz, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Fletcher. I appreciate the opportunity to be here. A blessing, and thanks for sharing your audience.
Yeah, you bet. Hey, before we get into what it is you do
Yeah.
and who you help, and we want to find out what's going well in your world. And the reason we take time to do this is because it's easy to focus on what's not going well.
Yeah.
In fact, I've been masterfully practiced at that for most of my life, right? But I'm practicing noticing what is going well. I'm
Yeah.
practicing noticing what where I can make a difference, where I can improve. So lay it on me. What's been going well for you personally and or professionally?
Yeah, I love it, Fletcher. We start almost every single call with wins as well for that exact reason, creating new neural pathways around the things that we want to focus on. And so, yeah, man, the things that are going well in my world, my kids just this past weekend, all three of my kids who race BMX, all took a state championship, a trophy home, first place, this huge trophy. My youngest is 6. The trophy was as large as he was. It was pretty fun. And in business, we through Gathering the Kings, we host a family mastermind vacation each summer. We just hosted our largest one back in June, and we're already planning for next summer. We're already almost as many families sold to next summer as just came with us just a few months ago. And we just couldn't be more excited about what we do for families, entrepreneur families specifically. And so that's just going really, really well.
All right. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're celebrating your kids and their accomplishments,
Yeah.
celebrating what's been going well in you in Gathering the Kings. And that's cool.
Yeah.
So before we get to your vision, the organization is called Gathering the Kings. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Tell me, what is it that you do there? And let's just dive into it. And what's your vision?
Yeah, the vision is that we help multiply entrepreneurs, family, and wealth, and we do that through, helping business owners understand how to scale their business profitably, work less, and to be intentional with their family. I think that the cool things that we get to do, like with the family mastermind that I mentioned, we teach their kids about entrepreneurship. Those are just like the cherry on the top. It feels like, but I'll talk business all day long with entrepreneurs who are growth minded, down to earth, family oriented, because we share the same values of wanting to win, not just, in the money category in my bank account. I want to win in that. Don't get me wrong. But I just think there's so many more elements of success. And so that's really what Gathering the Kings does. That's the vision. That's what we're creating. That's what we've been creating. And as we progress, it always unfolds, sometimes in predicted ways and sometimes in unpredicted ways, which is always fun.
Yeah. So really good. So what's important, and I want our clients, or not our clients, but our listeners and to hear, and the people who are watching this, is you help people on their road to success and accomplishment.
Yeah.
And you know, we're in the same space here, is in the coaching space and helping people,
Yeah.
empowering people. And I think it's really important for our listeners to understand what success is. And I'm just going to offer my definition of it, and you can
Yeah.
chime in if you want. But because a lot of people, we throw that word around a lot,
Yeah,
and I
that's
think there's a very big difference and distinction between success and accomplishment. And
Sure.
what I want our viewers to hear is you can be successful without the accomplishment. Um, and I define success as knowing who I am, knowing my desired outcome, and taking consistent action
Mm.
toward that outcome. If
Yeah.
I'm doing those three things, I'm successful.
Yeah.
Right now, I may not have reached my accomplishment yet,
Right.
right? But the accomplishment, because how many people do we know who have all the accomplishments and yet they don't feel successful?
Yeah, that's right.
right? So we got two different things. But I love that you're helping people have that sense of feeling successful so that they can produce those desired outcomes. The feeling that precedes the outcome is really important. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So let's talk about what does Gathering the Kings look like? What is this? This is a mastermind? This is a group? What is it?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. First off, I agree with your definition of success. I would the language that we use is called winning in all areas, and we break it. We've broken that down. Your business, your family, your health, your joy, and your faith. And I think that in order to be winning, you have to identify where you are in those categories, what it takes to move the needle in those categories, and then to be able to take action on those things. So almost not the exact definition, but our definitions are pretty darn close.
Nice.
And I love that because you're right. I'm winning. I'm winning in all areas. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect. And it definitely doesn't mean that I've achieved all that I'm going to achieve, because even on a scale of 1 to 10, what I have found is that when I quote unquote reach the 10, then the scale turns into 20, or or it resets and now 10 becomes 1. Because at the end of the day, we're all on this journey called life, and I just happen to believe that my potential, I'll actually never reach it. That's the game that I get to play, is reaching for all that I'm meant to be, that I'm created to be, and I get every waking moment to be able to go after that. And so, yeah. So as far as Gathering the Kings, the structure, yes, we've got a mastermind community, where high performing entrepreneurs come together. We've got a community app. We do live Zoom calls. We do in-person events. We try to mix up the environment, and we're pretty experiential. I think a lot of entrepreneurs learn from doing, as or getting in motion, as opposed to just sitting and listening. Although there's definitely an element of sitting and listening and being a student. I'm a big fan of that, actually, but I just know that in today's world, attention spans are less. And so, like, we're preparing for an event. We'll be in Boston next week. A good chunk of our members will be out there, and we'll have a very experiential weekend. We'll start with the Red Sox game, and we've got some cool stuff downtown planned on Saturday. But in the midst of that, I've got some speakers lined up throughout the weekend, and we're going to plan to grow and develop and transform, and the relationships will be transformed. But a lot of times, what most people don't recognize in an event like that, especially with what we do as a mastermind community, is that the conversations that are going to happen at dinner that I didn't facilitate, or the conversations that are going to be on the transportation from the game back to the hotel, are oftentimes the most powerful. And I didn't facilitate it. I didn't organize it, but I did, kind of, in a way. I gathered everybody together, right? Gathering the
Yes.
Kings. And I just brought everybody to the same table, and I allowed the conversation to happen, which is cool, because it doesn't have to be me, right? I like
Yes.
a little bit of humble pie here. That, yeah, sure, I figured out a couple things, but there's plenty of other people that have figured out a couple things, and I think that we're more powerful together than we are separate. So that's a
Yeah.
little bit about us.
That's so good, and I'm really appreciating this conversation. And I there's a couple things that I want our viewers and listeners to really tap into. What you're talking about, you didn't use this word, but what you're talking about, I believe, is proximity.
Yeah.
When we get into proximity, we have new access to, well, opportunity,
Yeah.
relationships, insights,
Yeah.
compensation,
Right.
right? So, one of the things you said on your website was one of the biggest enemies of the entrepreneur is isolation.
Yeah. It is.
Yeah, I'm
It is.
raising my hand right now. Okay, I've been there, done that,
Yeah.
right? But when we break out of isolation and really pay attention to this thing called proximity,
Yeah.
things can begin to shift rapidly. And that proximity, like you said, that might be on the bus ride to the game,
Right.
or it might be at the lunch while you're waiting in line. It's any. Are you in proximity? Who are you in proximity to?
Yeah. Yeah.
What are
Yeah.
you in
They
proximity
say
to?
the 5 people that you're around, you become most like. The one word that sticks out to me as far as proximity, I love that word. To me, it's always been courage. Like, if I can get around Fletcher, right? And even in our time here today, It's like, if you can do it, I can do it. Right? You put on your pants the same way that I do. I put on my pants the same way your listener does. And so someone might be listening to this going, okay, you get this big fancy title or this big fancy intro of who Chaz Wolfe is. He's a serial entrepreneur, millionaire by 29, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no. Regular dude, grew up single mom family, had nothing handed to him, literally read books to learn because I didn't go to college, nothing. And so if I can do it, you can do it. And I think you're right. You get all the value of proximity of the tactics and the this and the that. I've just needed courage, man. Like if I can get into a room and I can see you winning, that's why I love you started with the win, man. It's like, if you can win, then I can win. If you can set a target and then take consistent action towards it per your definition of success, then I can,
Yes. And I love that. And when we are gathered together, we get to see that up close. We get to see other people's stories up close.
Yeah.
We get to see and be with other courageous people.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's inspiring. That's infectious, right?
Yeah, people walk away from an event and they go, like, well, what'd you get from it? Like, what are you walking away with? And sometimes they say something like tactical. I heard so-and-so, they did this marketing campaign and I'm going to give it a shot. That's every now and then. But most of the time they're walking away going, man, I feel like I can go, accomplish the whatever, or run up the hill, or, run through a wall, however they would describe it. It's because they got around other people who they see themselves in. And they're like, well, shoot, they're dealing with the same stuff. My crazy entrepreneurial journey that feels heavy, it is. But guess what? If he can carry it or if she can carry it, I can carry it. And guess what? If we're together actually carrying it, the whole thing gets a whole lot lighter,
Yeah, I love all the stuff you're saying here. And by the way, if you're thinking, oh yeah, but Chaz, he's got all this experience. He's got something special. He's got that it factor, that X factor, whatever it is. What I want you to hear, he just was talking about courage. Yeah. And whenever I hear people talk about courage, I immediately know they're just like me, because what they're actually saying is I have fear.
Yeah.
Because exactly. The only time that you can be courageous is when fear is present, right?
So good. Yep.
So I love already what Chaz is saying. I can identify with him because he's talking about being courageous. I know that he has fear, and I can relate to that because I got a lot of it. Got a lot of fear.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, and we get together with those other people and we realize, oh, I'm not the only one that's fearful.
Right. Yep. Wow. Yeah. In fact, it's not just I'm the only one. It becomes normal. Like my crazy becomes normalized, and it's like, oh, the stressful moment that you hear that, you feel the entrepreneur is just like, head on the hands on their head and they're on their desk and you're not going to make payroll, whatever the scenario is, that you got this picture in your brain of this stressed out entrepreneur. And then you get around with people and it's like, oh, no, that was just me last week, buddy. And then a breakthrough comes through or whatever, you make the deal or, like that is the story. Actually, it's not necessarily a constant up and down per se, but we just live a different life as entrepreneurs, and to know that it's normal, you walk away and you come back and you're like, oh, okay, well, if it's normal, then it's no big deal. I'm not going to let every blow hit me so hard. I'm actually taking it into proportion of going, oh, well, this is just part of how this is just it. Oh, okay, cool. No, this is what I signed up for. No big deal.
Yes. Yeah. I really appreciate that. I recently joined a mastermind, and that's nice. One of the things that I enjoy about it every week is that it's affirming, like, oh yeah, this isn't just me. It is actually the norm. This is par for the course. The entrepreneurial course is a roller coaster of ups and downs. I mean, that's life in general. But if you're in that entrepreneurial game, man, expect those highs up, high down.
Well, the truth is that we wouldn't have it any other way, because the way that we're wired, generally speaking, we use the predictive index, but there's probably 3 or 4 profiles, that an entrepreneur fits into most likely. And that individual doesn't like the basic ride at the amusement park. And that's why they became an entrepreneur. And so there's one part of them that's just like, oh my gosh, another up and down. But then if we took that away from them and gave them a smooth road, they'd be bored instantly, and they would go create an up and down. They'd pop their own tire just to figure it out. Like, this is just what we do as entrepreneurs. So you have to like normalize it so that you embrace the up and down and going, oh, this is actually, it's not what I just signed up for. Yes, but it's like I get to enjoy it, right? Because this is actually what brings me joy, even though it's stressful and it gets my heart rate up. This is how I'm designed, to operate.
Yeah, you get it. And a couple times on this already in our conversation, you've used the phrasing like "I get to."
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a privilege. This is an opportunity.
Yeah,
I
sure.
get to do this. I get to experience this.
Yeah.
And it's such a different perspective than like, oh my God, I have to.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the opposite is go get a job. I mean, I guess go get a 9 to 5, and every entrepreneur rolls their eyes and goes, "Yeah, right. I'd rather work 80 hours for myself than 40 hours for someone else." And although I'm not a proponent of working 80 hours, I think that autonomy is how we're designed. And so it's like, okay, great. Well, what you signed up for is some strategy and some think. So we gotta solve those so that, because this isn't going to stop.
Right. No, it's not going to stop until the ride's over.
Yeah, exactly.
So if someone's listening to this and they're like, I like what I'm hearing. Interesting. Yeah. Gathering the kings, having a community, having a mastermind.
Yeah.
Maybe no one's ever done this before.
Sure.
Talk to the person who's never really stepped forward and thrown their hat in the ring and joined a mastermind or a group like yours.
Yeah, both of the person that's thinking I've not done this before, but that sounds interesting, probably falls into one of two categories. The person that is has a little bit more self-doubt, where they think, well, what could I bring to the table? And that individual needs community and needs other entrepreneurs. They need proximity, like you talked about, because they need to have courage. They need to have belief, like breathed into them. Because when you start hearing tactics and strategies and stories of other people that have done what you're trying to do, it elevates the game immediately. I can't tell you how many times someone has come to us in that same fashion of like, well, I don't really know what I bring to the table, but I know that we're all obviously created in God's image and we all have value, and then we all have our own experience. And so your experience, although maybe you feel like it's less than, still offers something unique to the story of the group. And so I would say put your hat in the ring, as you mentioned, because one, you don't know what you don't know, and people need to hear your story. And more than anything, you probably need to hear theirs as well. For the other person that's considering, that thinks that maybe they've got it all together and they're wondering, well, who's in the room? Who could I really get value from? Which is fine. There's no big deal. It's kind of how masterminds work. The $1 million guy doesn't want to be around the $500,000 guy. The $5 million guy doesn't want to be around the $1 million guy, and so forth and so on. And so, okay, so who are you going to be around? Well, first off, I would challenge the way that you're thinking a slight bit. And I would say that if you're only looking at revenue, then you may not fully understand what it means to be successful, because I can find you a lot of very successful, financially speaking, people who don't have a quality marriage. They don't know their kids. And I don't want to know from those people, because to me, the value of having all of it is way more important. That doesn't mean necessarily that you should get around just a bunch of small business owners who are family oriented. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that you should open up your mind to how can I win in all areas of life? And sometimes there's things that I can learn from other people who maybe have a smaller business than me because they figured out a couple of other components. Cool. The other thing is that, sure, you should be skeptical around who's in the room. And I would tell you that the people that are in the room inside of Gathering the Kings range from obviously the $1 million guy to the $30 million guy, but everywhere in between is going to be a family oriented, down to earth, growth minded person. And so I would say that we've got different tiers specifically designed so that person can make sure that they're in the right spot and that they're feeling like they're pushing to the next level. I think that getting around peers is important. I think getting around people who are bigger than you is important, and being around people who are smaller than you is important. And so I think there's a mixture of all of those things that person needs to probably understand that they need for success.
Yeah. Well said. And basically, just to recap, you have value, you will get value.
Yeah.
Show up, right?
Yeah. Because if you don't show up, then you can't engage. You can't have the enlightening conversations that you mentioned earlier, whether we're at the ballpark or on a Zoom. And otherwise, it's just something that you say that you do that you don't, and that's not really success anyway.
Yeah. And I also want to just take a pause and highlight this other thing that you have brought forth a couple times. You're talking about winning, and for me that phrase could have been triggering years ago, because it would have highlighted the fact that I wasn't winning and I was losing,
Sure.
and it would have felt competitive to me. But years later, when I hear you saying this, I really want to ask our listeners to ask themselves this question: like, am I winning?
Yeah.
Am I winning in my marriage? Right? I mean, we're not talking about a competitive here. You're not competing with is your marriage winning?
Right. Yeah.
Right? Is it growing? Is it expanding? Is your parenting, are you winning in the arena of parenting? Right?
Yeah.
Are you connecting? Are
Yeah.
you having authentic connection with your kids?
Yep.
Right? In your finances, are they, is your account growing, or is your money working for you? Are you learning more about how to get your money to work for you? Are you setting yourself up for later success and accomplishment? Ask yourself, am I winning in my life? And just answer it. Are there areas where, gosh, I'm not winning the way that I would like to be winning?
Sure. Yep.
Like, just let's get curious, right? I mean, we want to get curious about, where am I winning? Where am I not? And how can I, if it's important to me, to improve that area, right?
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. It all growth starts with intention. And so what you're talking about is being aware of where you are first, right? You can't go to the destination of B if you don't figure out first where you're at, which is A. And so the roadmap then can begin the roadmap of intention, because all of the winning that you're talking about, all those areas, nobody's going to write down a 10, which is great, good for you. And so then you can identify whether you're at a 3 or a 7. Well, what is a 10? And okay, great. So now we've got A and B, and we start building the roadmap of the intentions that I can take in your finance or in your business or in your kids or whatever the scenario is, or your health. To like, okay, the next 90 days, like, what does it look like? What are the intentions that I'm setting? What are the actions that I'm going to intentionally take to be able to hit the targets? And sometimes we hit them, sometimes we blow past them, sometimes we don't, and we have to reset the target. Okay, cool. Let's hit them again for the next 90 days, and let's hit them again for the next 90 days, and that now becomes a rhythm of just what successful people do.
Yeah, I will. I like. Let's repeat that. That becomes a rhythm of what successful people do. And if you didn't hear what he said, that rhythm is setting an intention, taking intentional, deliberate action, noticing the results, and then reassessing, resetting, or celebrating,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah, that becomes the rhythm. And so if you feel like on this entrepreneurial journey, like, God, I've been here before. Yeah, because it's a rhythm.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Really, really good. Um, let's tell people how they can get in touch with you, how they can check out what your mastermind looks like.
Yeah.
I've investigated, but let's hear from you. Tell us where to go and how to connect.
Yeah, gatheringthekings.com is our website. You can take a look at some of the cool things that we do there as a mastermind community. If you're specifically interested in our family mastermind vacation that I kind of mentioned that we do in the summer times, we've got one set up for 2026. That'll be June of 2026. We do them typically in June every single year. So even if you're listening to this years later, I'm sure it'll still be there. But gtkfamilymastermind.com will give you all the details there. You can book a call with our team to learn all the details. We're pretty curated from a mastermind or the family stuff. Like obviously, as you can imagine, I'm there, my wife's there, my kids are there, or the circle of kings that I've developed is like highly curated. And so we have an interview process. It may or may not be right for you, but we're happy to chat and to see if it is.
Right on. Right on. Chaz, thanks so much for being on the show. Really, really appreciate the work you're doing in the world. Thanks for being a source of contribution. And I'd love to have you back in a few months and hear what else is new and what the impact that you and your group are making. Again, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, Fletcher, thanks for having me. And if you're listening to this right now and you got value, go drop a 5-star review for Fletcher and the show, and all those things help him continue to bring on amazing guests.
Right on. And now you all know what it's time to do. It's time to get out there, be a source of kindness, be a source of contribution. You do have something to offer this world, and I believe in you.
Thank you for being here today. I'm really happy that you tuned in to Vision Pros Live. I'm looking forward to seeing your reactions as these episodes continue to move forward. This is going to get more and more fun. We'll have more and more engagement as well. We'll invite people to participate in the show. And thank you for giving us your time and attention. Have an excellent time building out your vision and becoming a Vision Pro yourself.